I am convinced that pawn structures are very important because they will teach you what to do in most of the situations. And what I mean by what to do, I think they are going to tell you which kind of plan to have, right? So books about pawn structures should be in your chess library because they are very important. And not only for that, they are very important because if you read a book like this from cover to cover, then when you also are watching another game of someone, you immediately have an idea of how that pawn structure works, pro or against, and what the two colors should do, right? In this case, I want to show you a game from chapter 2, which is dedicated to hanging pawns. Hanging pawns, here it says, the white's plan is to create a kingside attack. Most plans will include moves like knight on e5, the bishop on c2, and the queen on d3. And likely a rook transfer through the fourth rank. Like for example, it could be a rook e1, e3, h3. Okay? Then there is a break in the center with d4, d5. Either to open the lines for the attack or to create a powerful pass pawn on the d file. The black's plan is to trade off the pieces attempting to neutralize the attack, pressure the central pawns and block them if possible, and then break the hanging pawns either with the b6 or b5 or e6 to e5, right? These breaks are not easy to carry out, especially because an experienced player will try and prevent them at all costs. However, if they can be accomplished, they are generally very strong, as they weaken those squares covered by the hanging pawns, and often force white to accept an isolani or isolani under very unfavorable circumstances. Okay, so now I will put the pieces as they should be, so give me a minute to pause. Okay, the game I'm going to show you is Enrique Making against Sandro Mareco. It was played in Campinas 2011. Making was a famous player that was thought to be possible world champion material in the 1970s. The learning objective of this game is to illustrate the powerful d4, d5 break and the strong attack white obtains from it. So let's start to move. d4, knight f6, c4, e6, knight c3, bishop b4, e3, castle, bishop d3, d5, knight f3, c5, and I think we have seen this structure in other games, right? Castle, c takes d4, e takes d4. Notice that with c takes d4 has given white the possibility to develop the bishop c1, so I don't know how good it was, c takes d4. Obviously here is not commenting, maybe because he's not interested in commenting the opening, but that's a reality, right? Okay, now I continue with d takes c4, bishop takes c4, b6, queen b3, bishop takes c3, and b takes c3. So we have reached the position of interest. This is a nice version of the hanging pawns for white, as he has the pair of bishop in an open position. So he's saying also that he has a kind of advantage, because the bishop pair is really highly considered at Grandmaster level. Okay, how did black continue? With bishop b7, bishop a3. Notice how they are starting to create pressure. Rook e8, bishop b5, bishop c6, and obviously white doesn't want to exchange the bishops. Okay, so what is the idea here? Like I showed you in the beginning, the hanging pawns are generally together, so on c4, right? So this bishop, you don't want to exchange it, otherwise you lose the bishop pair. But where do you put it? The best place, it seems, is bishop e2, and so this was all a maneuver to do what? To misplace this bishop, put it here, but so this cannot go there, right? Because we must think that generally Grandmaster level player, especially making, doesn't play a move just for playing it. Okay, so there is a reason behind. There is a reason behind. Okay, so he played bishop e2, and now if black wanted to develop here, he need to waste the tempo, and so he plays knight b d7, and white plays c4. So he reached his pawn formation that he wanted to reach, right? Now, when you will buy the book, you will discover that this break is not working well in this situation. And here there is a big note in the book. Okay, so what did black play after c4? He played queen c7, rook f e1, and rook a d8. Okay, so here white played bishop b2, and black played knight f8. Knight f8 is not really a good move. It's a dubious move. He says there is no reason to give away the center so easily. It was better to play knight g4. Okay, so let's say after knight f8, what should have white played? By the way, here when he give you the idea of knight g4, he also give a big note about what he's going to do with that knight there and why. So, for example, he thinks that white could play something like this, or something like this, and that weakens the diagonal. Okay, so it's an idea. But obviously he didn't play that. He played knight f8, which however is dubious. And white continue with knight a5, bishop a8. So why bishop a8? Because why black doesn't want to exchange the bishop, right? And you want to eventually have the possibility to create some attacking there, some checkmate attack, right? Okay, so here white continued with bishop f1, knight g6, and here he played f3. Wow. Here he says that he prevented knight takes e5 because luckily there is the rook there, and then black cannot do much damage, so that's why once he's taken there he doesn't have an advantage as black. Okay, what did black play? Played knight h4. And by the way, if he takes on e5, he will take with the rook, okay? So knight h4, bishop d3, which also is not a good move, because it seems it was better to play rook ad1, okay? And activate the rook. Knight d7. And here would have been better probably knight h5. So as you can see, white is also making mistakes, but is continuously helped by black, and that's really the problem here, right? So after knight d7 there is knight takes d7, rook takes d7 is a mistake. It was better to play with the queen, it seems, and of course you can check it with your computer. So after rook takes d7 there is queen c2 and king h8. Okay, so it seems that now instead of this, if we would have played bishop takes f3, it didn't work because there was queen f2. But after that, what does he do? Knight takes g2. Okay, let's see what's going on. And the problem is here that white has these two bishops that are very strong, and there was an attack on the king one time by Lasker with a bishop pair, so it's a good example to know. So after queen c2 he plays king h8, and then it's followed by queen f2. Here he could have played immediately d5, okay? So let's see how it continues. Queen d8, and now there is a very interesting move for white. What do you think it would be? White could have played, no, he played d5, okay? And after d5 there was b5, obviously you attack the base of a pawn chain, and of course also this e takes d5, it's a mistake. Why it's a mistake? Because it takes here, and if you take back he can take there and give checkmate. So clearly that wasn't possible. So after d5, let's see what he plays. He plays b5, and here there is a diagram. Okay, seems we have all the pieces in the right place. So after b5, what do you play? It seems that e takes d5 was a mistake, okay? Again for the queen take on h4, because here there is a back rank weakness. So let's see what he does after b5. He plays bishop c2. Wow, great move. As you can see, white is more interested in giving checkmate, in creating an attack that is good, but black instead it goes for the pawns, so I don't know. Okay, after bishop c2 there is rook g8, d takes e6, f takes e6, and now there is the final, not the final move, sorry, but there is a move that gives a decisive advantage to white, and it's rook a d1. A simple yet beautiful move which illustrates white's overwhelming initiative. Once d4, d5 is achieved, black has no hope of dealing with multiple threats, the most direct being rook takes d7 followed by queen takes h4. So here, once you take, this knight is gone, right? So he makes rook takes d1, rook takes d1, and queen g5. And now I invite you to pause again, because there is a good move, at least it's given a good move sign to white. So here the problem is the following, that white plays a move that threatens to give a checkmate, right? So the move is queen g3. And here black played queen e7, so he's trying to keep control of this. But it seems that there is no really way to avoid the checkmate. Why? Because you need to put yourself in white place, pause the video and see if you can find the right move. The right move is rook d7, and here black resigned. Why did black resign? Because after this there is queen takes h4, and of course there is no way to avoid the checkmate. Why? Because you cannot move this, otherwise the bishop b2 will take your king, right? And if you do this, oops, checkmate again, because you cannot take, since the bishop is pinning it. So I thank you for watching this video that treats chapter 2 of the Chess Structures A Grandmaster Guide by Mauricio Flores Rios. This book is really good. I hope you will give it a try. Thank you very much for watching.